Greetings, and good afternoon, Juneteenth family. Welcome to another weekly edition of our Lunch and Learn.
E is exhaling, having an opportunity to breathe, to rest, to refill yourself and rejuvenate yourself, because no one can pour from an empty cup.
As you evolve and become more of yourself, you begin to attract the people that are there for you.
Amen.
So everything you need is in the space.
You have to learn from your mistakes. Once you make a mistake, sit down, recoup, and then start over. And once you do that, you say, I got that.
See, Juneteenth means to me, I would definitely say empowerment and education.
When I experienced it, like just coming together and, being a part of something bigger than myself,
A new start, starting a new chapter, opportunity, new beginnings, all of that good stuff.
All right, community. So as I just introduced, I am here talking with Charmaine Callender, and we're here to discuss elderly care and who cares for the caregiver. So I know a lot of Charmaine's background and history in this area because we are friends, we are sisters, we are besties. And but what I would love to have Charmaine do is share a little bit of your background, share a little bit about your role as a caregiver, how you've gotten to that place, and then we'll go on from there.
Oh, wow. How did I get to this place of being a caregiver?
Margaret.
It started off actually as a little girl. I remember the little 12-year-old, the little 13-year-old. My family had just transitioned from, migrated from London back to Trinidad. So it was a different kind of lifestyle. There, I got introduced to feeding the poor and the hungry. They would do it as a form of Thanksgiving, like for your birthday, you'll cook and you'll feed the hungry as a way of giving thanks and appreciation for your time around the solar. And so I used to, when it was my time to cook, I would tell this homeless guy across the street, we call him Punk. I say, Punk, make sure you pass tomorrow. I'm cooking. And my mother used to be hot, but it triggered me because she was angry that I was giving somebody who couldn't do anything better for themselves. I was giving them food, and it would trigger her. And I really didn't put it together until I came up here to the States when I was around 24. I started doing it again on the train. They asked for money, I'll give them $1. And she was like, well, why do you do that? And it was like, well, Ma, they're in need. Well, give me the money. I'm in need. I'll show you what I can do with it. Say, you got a roof over your head. You got food on the table. So no, I'm not going to give you the money, but I will give it to them. Well, what if you take it and use it to buy drugs? I said, that's not my concern. My concern is the intention, the energy that I'm giving it to them. So even if they take it and they use it for something, not wrong, but use it for something that it's not good, like for drugs and alcohol, the energy that I give them, that money, that comes along with that money, I'm hoping that energy, at that time, I was hoping that energy could transform in them. I had no clue, Jamie, that this is where I was going to end up with my life. I've always had a knack for the elderly. I love to sit in their lap and listen to their stories and comb their hair and make them feel pretty. Because, you know, we tend to forget them. You know, society tends to forget the elderly now. And so, wow. Whew.
I
And then,
love that.
and then
I
comes my mom got ill, and I looked after her, not as often as I can, because she lived in London and I was in the States. So when I would go over there, I would take care of her and whatnot. She became disabled, diabetes, breast cancer, stage 2, 3, lupus, you name it, a complicated case. And then after she transitioned, my cousin Margaret got ill, and my family member remembered that I used to take care of my mother. And so then look after my cousin Margaret. And I, without even thinking, I said yes. Now, she was not the easiest of persons. She was not the easiest to deal with, but I knew spiritually there was something there for me. I did not know at the time what it was, but I knew there was something for me. Yeah. And that's how I end up in elderly care today. And I can even go even further. Now that we're talking, I just remembered I actually did a CNA course. I never did the state exam to get certified.
Got that.
Yeah, isn't that something? So it's something that has always been there in the making. It's just, I just did not know that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the beauty of life. A lot of times our purpose is sitting there right under our nose, but because we're not taught to follow the patterns of our behaviors, of our passions, of the things that fire us up, the things that are causes that we stand up for, we're not taught to follow the pebbles in the road of purpose.
Right.
And that's kind of like what comes up for me as you go back through your memory. And I'm sure as we're having this conversation, it'll probably be more instances that pop up in your mind as we're chatting. One of the things that really resonated with me was that energy. I've always told people when I do gift people on the subways and in the trains, I definitely have a love for the ones that actually just say, listen, I want to get a little drink and I don't have the money for it and whatever, because I'll give it to them even quicker because of the honesty in it. But again, if they tell me they're hungry and they're going to get food and they do go get drink or drug, maybe that, number one, releasing judgment. It's an opportunity for me to release judgment because maybe that is their food.
Ashe.
When you're not in a healthy space and you're not healed and you're traumatized and operating from trauma or from lack, which if you're homeless, how full are you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah, it's just super interesting how people's judgments of things they try to place on us. And I'm just grateful that people like you and I don't listen to the outside noise, that we follow our hearts and where our hearts are guiding us to go. Because what I've always said is that at the end of the day, if they say it's for one thing and it's for another, it's their cross to bear with God, not mine.
Absolutely.
Because like you stated, it's from your intention, it's from your heart. It's from you wanting to help that person in that moment of need. So, friend, I do know that our Margaret was definitely not easy. So what would you share to those that are out there that may have an elder in their family, or maybe the caregiver that's giving to the elderly members in their family, whether it's a parent or a distant family member? I have a cousin in Virginia who's supporting with lovely Aunt Mary right now, who's not in her last days, but is just in a space in life where she needs that support. Mm-hmm. What do you find are some of the challenges that you come up against, that you came up against, number one, and then also share maybe some tips that you would give to folks as you're walking into this new, because I'm sure when you said yes back home in Trinidad, number one, you were picking up, coming back to New York again to live. You were newly married, and also didn't really know what you were saying yes to because you hadn't necessarily seen her in this new space. Yes, she was your cousin, but you knew her, but she was also your mom's cousin. So she's an elder, older than you, and you didn't know what you were walking into. You didn't know what you were walking into contract-wise with the family. You didn't know what you were walking into living arrangement wise, like so many things that you didn't know. What are some of the gems that you could give to the community who may end up in this same position?
Ooh. Make sure you negotiate for yourself first and foremost. Even though it's family, we tend to get comfortable. I got comfortable. You know, it's my family, it's my cousin, it's Margaret. I knew her since the age of 24 and she remembered me and I did not like her. So I looked at it as an opportunity to get to know her again. Because she, like I said, she was not, as you know, she was not a nice person. She softened up a lot in the end, but yeah, make sure that when you negotiate with family that you put time in there for yourself, because in the heat of the moment when we're all trying to figure things out, and it's human nature sometimes, we tend to, we'll meet at on the meeting block and we come to the solution. And then once we've got the solution, everybody disperse like ants and go back into their respective places and they forget the person that they put there. So that's why I say it's key that if it's family, whether it's family or not, negotiate your time for yourself where you at least get 2 days out of the week for yourself and that you don't walk in taking yes. The yes is out of the mouth and nothing written in black and white. You need a contract. Get a contract that says I'm going to work from Monday to Friday. I'm off Saturday, or I leave Friday night at 9 o'clock and I come back Sunday evening at 9 o'clock. You got to have it in black and white, because when you don't, people forget. They walk out and they forget. You don't forget because it pertains to you, but everybody else forgets because it's not really important to them. Yeah. Some other gems is to give yourself grace, to find healing circles where you can actually get that support. I'm not sure I understand. Where you can actually get that support. I don't know what's wrong with Siri, but she don't understand technology today. Yeah, find yourself support, get that support. Is really, really, really key. I didn't have that support in the beginning and I was like pulling my hair out. As you know, when we met, I was like, oh my God, I was so frustrated until I started putting things in place. I started taking that time, taking back me time and going to the gym, taking me time and doing Be the Tree, taking me time and doing Wake Up Everybody and Be the Tree and Wake Up Everybody. For those who don't know, they're healing spaces that both Jamie and myself, we participate in. And if it wasn't for those two and for our friendship and being able to have that outside support, someone just to listen when I'm in story and I'm going a mile a minute, just for somebody to listen is key. So make sure you have a support system in place, other than making sure that you have negotiated time for yourself. And make sure you negotiate your money right as well, because family will do you dirty. Family will do you dirty. And the things that family expect you to do, because it's family and they paying you, family expect you to do every and anything. So you're not just caregiver, but you're also the advocate for the person. You're also the ears, eyes, nose, everything for this individual. And the family expects for you to report back to them in great detail as to what's going on with their loved ones. Mind you, some of them don't want to get involved, but they want you to be able to tell them everything. So you have to really have that supportive network, that support network in place. So you have somewhere where you can go and you can dump your frustrations.
You know what comes up for me as well is boundaries.
Yeah.
Creating boundaries, because while yes, the family member can't do it themselves, but sometimes they want an unrealistic account of what has taken place. Like when you're in action and taking care of someone, it's very hard to relay everything. So it's almost like when you're in those predicaments where someone's micromanaging you and you have to create that boundary to not control, but to balance how it lands on you. Because if we allow people to dictate every little thing of what they want from us, then they could be taking everything. And where's the time for you? Because if you're caregiving all day long, now you got to give account all night long. Where's your you time?
Yeah. Yeah. I had no me time.
I remember, and I remember you having to pay other people in order to have that you time.
In order to have that me time.
So community, hear this, that when she's saying negotiate your prices, that it's more than just your time per hour that you're looking for. You're looking for everything that you would look for on a regular job, everything that you want on a regular job. While yes, they may not pay medical benefits, they may not pay this, but give me the paperwork to be able to go and get what I need to get then.
That's right.
Support me just like you want me to support you. In order for me to caregive, I have to be able to care for myself. So make sure that there's a backup family member.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't have the person be the only family member, especially if you're operating from a space of this is a family person, so let's treat them this way. Then yes, you definitely need to make sure that you're getting more than one family member that signs up for this, because I saw what that looked like. I saw what it looked like on you. And even though you started the working out and you started your different things and doing different things, I also saw what it put on you to now do 2 jobs in one.
Yeah.
At one time. And while you learn to manage it, which is the basis of our work, is learning how to deal with this crazy life and not be triggered left and right, and to deal with our stuff so that we can actually deal with the real life stuff. I saw you doing that and saw it in actual action and what it looks like. But I also saw the toll that it was taking on you in the process.
And still today, and that's why I say it's so important to make sure in the beginning you negotiate that time for yourself, because I was oh my God, before I left and went to Georgia, I gotta mention my home, Georgia, y'all. Georgia is where my heart is. I live in New York, but Georgia is where my heart is. And my kids and grandkids are actually, they still stay in Georgia. But what's coming up for me is I did not have any time for myself, and I lost I lost the social side of who I am.
Got that.
I was a social butterfly here in New York. You can tell me nothing. This time of the year, I call this Caribbean time, because the parties out there, we doing our thing. And
from Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah. And I've become so conditioned to staying in a house 24/7, 365, that now when I get invited to go out places, I'm afraid.
I was just getting ready to say, so there's one other area that I would be remiss to not flow the conversation in that direction. And I'm sure that this was probably the height of most of people's experiencing exactly what we're talking about. And this was not even just with the elderly. This was as we all had to take care of each other when the world shut down. You were also at the beginning or in the spin of this tail journey. So what else comes up for me is what does it look like when you're caregiving for an elder? You have programs and places that they go to in place so that they can have a social life and still interact. And then the world shuts down. Because I have it that we have no idea when that can happen again. It could happen tomorrow and we have no idea. It could come around again. Yeah. We don't know when another airborne something is going to happen. and we don't know when we'll be back to being, as especially as you see technology and all these things put into place. And then not only that, we're about to go into 2024 presidential runs. So we have a climate that could easily be shut down at any time. We live in a society that, although we operate from this entitlement of freedom, an entitlement of do what we want, when we want, how we want, we never know when that's going to come to a halt again. So share what that was like. What was it like to have someone that was in programs, had places to go, who then had nowhere to go, and you just shared the impact on you, but I know that there was probably even more further impact that was there. So share that with us.
Wow, when the world shut down and I could not take Margaret to I couldn't take her to church. She was one love to eat. I couldn't take her out for her little tea, her cup of tea, or a restaurant. She liked to go visit family. We couldn't go anywhere. And it was so beautiful because even though we were at a standstill, I got to be at a standstill as well. And in that standstill, I was able to find empathy deep down. I've always had empathy because I'm from the School of Social Work, but you know, and it's a family member, you tend to be frustrated more. And I was not exercising. I wasn't operating with her from the lens of empathy at all. It was all personal. But empathy, I got a newness, a refresher look on how to have empathy. And we started enjoying each other. The first day I was able to actually take her to her doctor's appointment, we sat down, it was out in Long Island. We sat down outside and we walked across to the diner and we sat down and we just ate. And we could not believe, even though she had dementia and whatnot, there were moments when she was coherent, when she would connect. And I'll say, Margaret, isn't this such a beautiful thing that we can finally come outside and eat? And she'd say, you know, that's right, Terry. You know, because she never called me Charmaine. She always called me Terry. Yeah. I got to find myself with then Wake Up Everybody was birth. I was doing Be the Tree, and those two safe spaces is what really helped me develop that emphatic side of me. Yeah, so I was able to deal with her, even though I was on lockdown myself, and I was able to deal with myself. But back then, I did not realize that I was being conditioned to not coming back out into the world. I didn't know that. I didn't know it now. I know it today because I can find every excuse under the moon and the sun why I don't go out with somebody. Yeah. And I come back.
I also have it that part of it is not even just that. We got so used to like being dressed down, not getting all glammed up and going through.
No, not me.
Going through them steps. Like who wants to do all them steps? I don't want to have to get dressed to go outside. I just want to click my heels. I just want to click my heels and be there. That's it.
Charmaine going through the whole thing. Charmaine don't sit in front of the mirror and beating the face for an hour, hour and a half. No, I don't mind. I didn't mind doing those things. I didn't mind. And it was brought to my attention. Kim said to me, my daughter Kim, she said, Ma, you know, you used to dress really, really nice. You was a fly dresser. What's going on with you? You used to always be going out. You're always doing something now. Yeah. And I literally have to, and that's one of the impacts of not having these things in place. Yeah. Now I have to do the work and unpack that fear factor. So why am I so comfortable of wanting to be within four walls rather than being out in the world where my energy can be felt, where my purpose, you know, My purpose is healing God's creation from beginning to end. Who can feel that out there in the universe if I'm behind closed doors?
Well, I actually love that you actually just shared and introduced what your purpose is, because I actually, you know, as we start to wind down the time in our 30 minutes together, I would love for you to share how you've also discovered that not only are you an elderly caregiver, but you are a caregiver for those that are from the beginning to end. And before you dive into that, what I would love to like point out to the world is that, you know, we live in a society that has a really hard time accepting death and handling death, because we're not taught to honor that as we begin, we have to end. And I love the fact that you not only care for the elderly, you also care for babies from the time that they are born, like literally come home from the hospital. And, you know, there's this side of my eyes growing up in New Yorker who has seen tons of nannies raising. I know that you're not a nanny.
Mm-mm.
You are a caregiver. And what you bring to the table is just what you shared. I know the relationships that you have with the parents of the babies that you're supporting. Share with the community what it looks like to actually be a caregiver from beginning to end.
Wow. Wow. So, from the beginning, well, let me first say I'm not a caregiver in the beginning. I'm a newborn care specialist. And so my role is mixed. I've done birthing, postpartum, breastfeeding, doula trainings. And so it's my newborn care specialist is wrapped around that energy. And so you asked me a really good question here, you know, Jay. So I go into the home, but I go in to meet the family's needs. So when I go in, when I'm contracted, I will ask mom and dad, what is the ideal thing they're looking for? I want my baby to, you know, be on a nice eating schedule, and I want my baby to be able to sleep, because when I go back out to work, you know, I want baby to be sleeping throughout the night. And so I go in, and that's what I do. I sit with mom, we make our plans. If the doctor says baby has to eat every 2 hours, every 3 hours, do you prefer to breastfeed? Do you want to pump? Do you want to, you know, I do all of these things with mom, and I empower the parents. You know, a lot of parents, which is so strange to me, and because of how I was raised taking care of kids. I'm the eldest granddaughter, the eldest niece. So I find it so strange that now that I come in, I meet families that don't know how to hold a baby, they don't know how to burp baby, they literally don't know anything about children. And so I'm glad that I have that background where I can come in and I can teach the parents and empower mom, especially with the first 2 weeks after giving birth with postpartum. Those are the 2 weeks that you really want to empower mom and keep your eye on her to make sure that she's not going down that slippery slope of postpartum. And just meeting the family where they are, you know, even though you're behind the scenes orchestrating it, but you're doing it from a place where they think that they are in control, and you let them know that they are in control. At the end of the day, it is their baby, because when you finish with your 4 weeks or your 6 weeks, or if you're there for 12 weeks, when you finish with your assignment and you leave, you're leaving the baby there. So my role is to make sure that baby is well suited for mom and dad's world, not they switch for baby's world, but the baby comes into our world and the baby adjusts into our world.
Perfect. I was just saying, I love that, and seeing where spirit wanted me to go next with the conversation as we start to wind down and wrap up.
And you know, Jamie, I'm a tie in for you.
Mm-hmm.
my purpose is healing God's creation from beginning to end. So in the beginning, I get to speak high vibrational energetic words into these little human beings. Because if we take a look at this world and see how this world is crazy, this world is not just crazy with us adults, it's crazy from our children come up. So I get to speak high vibrational energy into these kids. I don't know what the impact would be because I don't get to see them after I leave at that assignment. They grow up and they get big, but I'm hopeful that my energy impacts them so much that they come out into this world and they find their purpose as well, and they do well, they do good for humankind. When it comes to the end side of life, that's a sacred moment. That's how I look at it. Look at it as a sacred moment that yes, this person is transitioning. However, I'm getting an opportunity to make sure that this person leaves this realm in peace. This person knows that they're loved. This person knows that they're healed. And they know that who taking care of them, you're going to be okay. So I just love both sides, and I get to speak to the person that's transitioning. It's okay. We love you. Head on up there, girl. You better make some space up there for me. Bake some croissants for me till I get up there. And then in the beginning of life, I'm pouring into that human being so that human being can find who they are and their purpose in this planet. And I'm complete.
Ashe, I love that. I absolutely love that. It speaks to everything that came up for me about you, knowing you personally, that just what you shared is why I've never considered you a nanny, because nannies are basically like the mothers. In my mind, the nannies that I've seen, the stories that you see when people grow up, they're sometimes even more connected to their nanny than their own moms. And I love that you empower. I love that you, even during Margaret's last days, the empowerment that you gave her with choosing how she wanted to be in those moments. Do you want to hear this music? Would you prefer TV? Making sure that she was as comfortable as possible. Do you need to sit up? Do you need to lay back? You know, the very small things.
Absolutely.
Being a fellow doula, that is one of the things that I learned for myself and really started, and it actually shifted my experience with death and my outlook on death. I had long been working on transforming it, but through my grandmother's transition during COVID, the fact that I had the honor that it was before things hit the fan and they shut everything down, that I was able to be with her. And I was sharing with someone recently that all the work that we do for ourselves, the self-care that we give ourselves, our understanding of how the healing work so that we're not hurting people, the work that we do on ourselves with ourselves prepared me to have a strength that I would have not thought. My grandmother was my best friend. She was my first best friend in this world. And although she was tough and rough, she was my soft spot. So, you know, with that being said, being there with her when she was unintubated, and I don't even know if that's the word used for it, but I'm making that up today, folks, unintubated. That was when they took the tube out of her throat. But getting to clean the stickers from the side of her mouth, she had been intubated for over a week, getting to clean all of that, getting the clean. Intubated, the tube.
Incubated.
No, incubated is when the babies are in the thing.
Oh, it is. So it's intubated.
Intubated. It's a tube because they're tubating. They're giving you a tube down your throat.
You're right. So incubated is in. Yeah, you're right.
The NICU. So when they take the tube out and just getting to, like, you know, clean her up. She had been in the hospital over a week, getting to just, you know, when they're in the hospital and not concerned with all the crust and the different things, they're just managing the breathing and the actual body. They'll, you know, of course they maintain her here and there, but.
Yeah, but it's not intimate.
It was, and I got to be intimate with her, with my mom on one side of her and me on the other side. And it was the most valuable moment of my life to this moment, outside of giving birth to my son. And it helped me really understand how important that it is for our elders to be cared for. in the end of life. So I love that you're out here in the world doing this work. I pray that there's someone out in the community today that was able to receive some nourishment and some gems and some what to do's from this conversation, maybe even some healing and some transforming. And do reach out to Charmaine. Her details will be in the recap for today's session. And if you're looking for a beginning of life person or an end of life person, she is there for you. She no longer caregivers for the elderlies, but as they are transitioning, I'm sure she would be a doula for you. Absolutely. If that's what's needed. So community, Charmaine, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you, Miss Calendar.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. And what a wonderful contribution for Juneteenth. Thank you so much.
Okay. And one last question. Tell us what Juneteenth means to you.
Wow. Well, for somebody who was not born in America, who was British born with Trinidadian background, what Juneteenth means to me is liberation. Juneteenth means freedom. Juneteenth means togetherness. And it also means a celebration of what we once was, because we're going to be that again. That's how I look at Juneteenth. I don't just look at, yes, they burned down our Wall Street, Black Wall Street. Yes, they destroyed, but I don't just focus on that. I love the fact that now we're recognizing Juneteenth, because where we were then, we are going to be again.
So I want to say thank you everyone for tuning in to our Lunch and Learn today. It was such an honor to be able to host, and we hoped that you found it as informative and uplifting as we did. So check out our website for the early bird vendor registration, sponsorship application, and advisory board applications for Juneteenth NYC 2024. It's going to be amazing because it already is. And if you want to be a part of it, make sure you go fill out those applications now, because the slots will be filling up very quickly. And hey, while you're at it, why not just like, follow, share, subscribe to Juneteenth NYC's YouTube channel and also our social media. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, and let's keep this incredible conversation going by keeping in touch on our socials. All right, bye everyone. Thank you for watching.
Exciting news, New Yorkers! Juneteenth, the celebration of freedom and unity, is just around the corner. Want to be a part of this historic celebration? Now's your chance. Juneteenth applications are now open for the Juneteenth festivities in New York City. It's simple and easy to apply. Just visit our website at www.juneteenthny.com and fill out the form. Can't wait to see it. Make sure you have all your essentials ready. A unique product, your contact info, and a desire to share in this special occasion. Join a vibrant community of vendors and share your talents and culture with thousands of attendees. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Apply now, because the world is about to celebrate and you should be a part of it. See you at Juneteenth in New York.